This is Gene Trowbridge, founding partner of Trowbridge Law Group, and this is our episode of TLG Talks, our series interviewing people who are influential in the real estate syndication business. And today we're happy to have one of those people and a good friend of mine, Brad Sumrok, joining us all the way from Texas today, right, Brad?
Yeah, Gene, thank you for having me on. And I am in Dallas, Texas right now.
I know you're getting ready for a big event that you're going to have this weekend. As you can see on the slide, Brad is the founder of Apartment Mastery, and a great organization that I've been a part of as a support, as a service provider for many, many years. That's Brad's website, where you can find out all the information about that. But why don't you tell us a little bit about Apartment Investor Mastery before we get into your syndication experience?
Yeah, so they really go hand in hand. So I started investing in apartments in 2002. And Gene, I think you helped me with either my first or second syndication. But what I found from investing in apartments was, after having an engineering degree and an MBA degree, I had never achieved the level of financial success or personal fulfillment that I thought that I would after studying so many years in college and working so many years in corporate America. And what I found is, after only 3 years of investing in apartments, and I'll tell you about that later, I'm sure you'll ask, but 3 years after investing in apartments, I was able to retire from my six-figure corporate job. So in 2005, I retired. My first apartment investment was 2002. So I was 38 years old and I didn't have a job when I retired in 2005, Gene. So then I started teaching and helping and mentoring and guiding other people that wanted to be successful in apartments. And I did that for a while with another organization. And then in 2013, me and my wife, Jen, we founded, actually it's called Sumrok Multifamily Mentoring. We branded as Apartment Investor Mastery, because that's what we do. We help people master the art and the science of apartment investing. So we have live and now virtual weekend training events. We have different mentoring programs available for people that want to be passive investors and for people that want to be syndicators. And I only teach what I do. So I have invested passively, and I could teach people the ropes of how to be a successful passive investor. I've syndicated many, many, many deals. And so we teach people and prepare people and mentor people to be successful apartment syndicators. And we also, I also buy my own deals with my own money for the tax advantages. So we have a lot of our students that want to do that. They want to go out and have direct ownership of a property. And so we help people do that. And Gene, I'm really proud to say that over 180 of our mentoring students have increased their net worth by over $1 million since they engaged with me and my team. So I'm super, super excited about what we do in the education and mentoring space. We have a really big mission, and our mission is to impact and guide and influence and mentor over 1 million people to financial freedom by investing in apartment buildings. So hopefully some of your listeners will be inspired and motivated and informed and educated and go out there and take action, either with my program or somebody else's.
Yesterday I was interviewing someone who's, we're going to talk about how you got into syndication, and his story was he had a whole library of books about it. And sitting at the kitchen table one night, his wife said, "Why don't you stop reading the books? Why don't you go do something?" Okay. That's where all the great decisions in life are made, around the kitchen table. Many syndicators get into the business, I found, Brad, that in finding a property that they'd like to syndicate, but knowing that they don't have enough money to do it all by themselves. So if they're going to accomplish it, they have to pool money from other people. That's how I got in. That's how I got into it. And then people who try to get into it from that way decide, are they going to go small to start with, or are they going to go big and make a statement to start with? when you did your first syndication, what drove you to the decision of what you wanted to syndicate?
Well, that's, when I started, if I could take a step back, my first two deals were not syndications. And I think it has a lot to do with, who you're learning from. So at the time, my mentor was mainly buying deals with his own money. And so I went out and bought two deals that were roughly 30 units within a 2-year period. And I bought two smaller deals, but my third deal was a syndication. And the main reason, Gene, truthfully, is I didn't have any more money because
that's where we all come from, right?
I bought as many units as I could with my own money, which is fine. But when you're buying deals with your own money, you're lacking skill, you're lacking, professional management. You don't get the financing that's as good. You don't have the professional management. You don't have the same economies of scale. So my third deal, I actually, I went from 30 units and 32 that I did on my own with no other investors. And my first syndication was a 251 unit deal that I put 100,000 in, and I raised over $2 million from other people. And that was my first syndication, but it was really driven by that I didn't have any more capital. I mean, I had 100 grand, but I couldn't even buy a 30 unit property with 100 grand. But in a syndication, I was able to control as a GP or, a managing member of the LLC. I was able to put that deal together, take a piece of the ownership or the profit and leverage other people's money to go out and help 250 families have better housing.
No, I think that's the way many of us got into the business, not altruistically, but hey, I don't have enough money and I want to buy this. And then eventually the altruism comes in. You just mentioned helping the people that live in the building have good housing, and you're also helping the people who invest with you. A long time ago, I tried to take the word sell out of my discussion with potential investors. More so than anything, what you're trying to do is provide an opportunity to other investors to take part in the opportunity that you found. And that's what it is. And on their own, many passive investors would never invest if there wasn't like a Brad or a Gene out there putting them together. So that's good. So right now, what is your syndication strategy, and how do you think it's going to change, if at all, in the next 3 years?
Well, my syndication strategy is, and first of all, the big picture, it's not going to change much because I've been doing this for 18 years. And so my investing strategy with apartments is to invest in landlord and business friendly environments. And I'm going to continue to do that. And I buy for myself. I like to buy 100 units and up, and I'm going to continue to do that. And I'd like to syndicate at least 3 deals a year. And most of these deals are going to be, I'm going to have a co-partner, like a co-pilot or a co-manager. And I like to partner with people that are going to be a little bit more hands-on, that are going to focus more on the asset management side of the piece. And so that's my recipe. I've partnered with some of the people you've interviewed. Some of them have started in my program, my mentoring program. And so, for example, I recently syndicated a 203 unit deal with one of my students who has the passion and the desire and the skill set to be a little bit more hands-on. And we did a 203 unit deal in the Tampa Bay area. And so we closed on that in February, and I'm looking to syndicate another deal this year. And I'll probably do 2 or 3 a year. So that's part of my syndication strategy. And I still invest passively, if I could say that too. I can't syndicate every deal. And so I find deals that other accomplished syndicators are doing. And I like to put money in those deals, especially to diversify and be in different markets. And then I also like to still try to buy some deals with my own money so I can get all the appreciation myself. But the syndication piece is the main piece where you're getting leveraged income, because you're putting in a little bit of money to buy a much larger property, and then you're taking a split however you decide to do it. And I know, Gene, you teach different ways of sponsor compensation and profit splitting, but however you slice and dice it as the sponsor, I'm putting in the concept is simple. I'm putting in a little bit of money and I'm getting a disproportionate share of the profit. And so that is why syndication will always be part of my strategy. And plus you could control more units. And then, you know, finally, again, part of my mission is to uplift communities. And if I just bought my deals with my own money, I can only buy so many units. But if I syndicate, I could buy more units. And so not only am I helping myself, but I'm helping my investors and I'm uplifting all these working class families. So that's why syndication has been and will continue to be part of my strategy.
That's good. That's very encouraging. And that's a great message that I know you give to your investors and your students. I've heard you talk many times from the podium, and that's the story you give. So it's a consistent story. So before we wrap this up, I'd like to ask you what advice you might have for rookies, people who haven't ever done a syndication. You may not know this, Brad, but on starting next Tuesday, I'm doing my first virtual class, which is sold out because we're only going to have 15 people in it. My first virtual rookies class. If you have done a deal, even if you tried to do a deal and you failed, you can't come to my class. You've got to be absolutely a virgin in the securities and syndication industry. And we sold that out in the first day. We went out for that, and it's going to be a 2-3 hour sessions in 2 different days online. And I'm trying to gather advice. I remember when I was a rookie, I remember how it worked. So now I'm trying to gather advice from all of you smart people. What piece of advice would you have to give to rookies?
Well, my number one piece of advice, especially as a syndicator, as a rookie, is find somebody that has done what it is you want to do and learn from them. And in other words, have a mentor. Okay. And there are different ways to do that. There are people that could be, you know, unofficial mentors. There are people that are officially mentors that have paid programs. Right now, some of my mentors are people like Tony Robbins and Grant Cardone, and I have proximity with these people and I spend time with them, and it's not free. Let me tell you, it's not free. But I learn from them, and I've identified these people as people that, and not in every domain in life, but in business and in apartments or in live seminars, they are at a level that I want to be at. You know, Tony Robbins does seminars, virtual events for 20,000 people, you know, and mine are at 1,000. So how am I going to go from 1,000 to 20,000? Well, I'm going to learn from Tony. You know, and Grant Cardone, whether you love him or not, he's raising tens of millions of dollars online, and he's got millions of followers on Instagram, and has built up a company, and he's an expert in sales and marketing. So I want to learn those skills from him. So the key is to find somebody that's already been down the path that you want to go and learn from them. Okay. And so I offer that service. If I could say that, Gene, people could go to bradsumrok.com. I specialize in helping people. I don't do what you do, Gene. You're going to teach them the legal ropes. I'm going to teach them, you know, the other stuff. And that's why me and you have this business partnership, and you've been supporting my program and vice versa for many, many years. But I would just say, look, don't do this on your own. Get a mentor, and you need to have a strong team. You need to have a great attorney. You need to have a great lender. You need to have great relationships with brokers, management companies, insurance providers, all those pieces. You don't want to be looking up in the yellow pages. You want to use proven people that are experts in those fields. So I know you asked me for one piece of advice, but I gave 2.
Well, no, that's good. You a long time ago, you went through one of my workshops and to talk about the securities side of it. And at the end of my workshops, I always give people 10 steps on what to do when they go out the door to get started on Monday morning. And the number one step is find someone to do this with. And that doesn't necessarily mean a partner. It might be a mentor. I'm particularly interested in continuity of the manager. So part of it, I would say, is if Brad Sumrok is raising money and I come to Brad and say, I'd like to invest with you, Brad, but what happens if something happens to you? Brad, you better have an explanation of your team. You better have continuity, or you're not going to get my money. It's not fair to the investors to do that. So that's always number one. Number two is build a database. You talk to people all the time. You got to build your database constantly. This is a database business from my view of it. And the third thing I say is make your first syndication a specific property. And then from then on, we can get into the details. But I think those are three great things. And I love your number one choice through mentors and building a team. Well, I know as we're talking today, you're getting ready for this big weekend event that you're having. When people see this interview, this event will be gone. There'll be more events coming from your organization. So I'm going to let you go and get you back. I know you've got to put chairs out and make little signs and do all that stuff to make it successful. So I don't want to be in your way when you do that. So Brad Sumrok, say hi to Jen for me. And thanks so much for taking time to be on TLG Talks.
You're welcome. I enjoyed it, Gene. Thank you.
Okay.